Monday evening, everyone. Matt Morrow here. It's hard to believe another week just flew by. I hope you had a great week. We sure had a good time here in Vegas this weekend. Thanks to everybody who came out for that event, particularly to Nate Curran and Ross George and Ben Panacasio for just giving some really good content and presentations, and then also to our main speaker, Mr. Clif Braun, who just absolutely crushed it. And I wanted to go over on tonight's call some of the content that he covered yesterday afternoon. So I've got Clif on the line, and I just want to jump right into it. You know, we got, by the way, as far as announcements and so forth, you know, we all know we got a couple weeks to convention. You want to push harder than ever to just get that incremental next person to convention. I've been buying up convention tickets. They're that difficult to find on Facebook. One word of warning, though, we had something really interesting happen to one of my downline. Got scammed by some people selling bogus convention tickets. Like they said, hey, do you want to buy some convention tickets? I have 4 VIP tickets available, and he sent her $1,000, and then all of a sudden the Facebook page disappeared and the person was not real. So a word of warning. And the way I'm doing it is I'm not paying anyone for convention tickets until after they're deposited into my account. And I encourage you guys to do the same thing. If someone offers to sell you convention tickets, tell them to transfer them to you, and once they're transferred and in your back office, you'll pay them. But, you know, there's always a way if you're committed. That's my belief. So I don't care if convention sells out. I don't care what happens. Keep getting people to come to convention. I've gotten 3 additional new people to come to convention in the last few days that are new prospects of mine or brand new people of mine. So just keep pushing. You know, you want to have as many bodies in those seats as possible at the Mirage, because literally anyone who just sets foot in the hotel is going to feel the energy from this convention. So I know, Clif, you're actually in my backyard. You're roughing it. I can kind of hear just a tiny bit of the wind noise, but I know you're enjoying the sun out there, and I appreciate you coming on the call after doing such a, I mean, literally stellar job yesterday. And I'm excited because his talk from yesterday afternoon, Ross George is going to edit it down from the Ustream and is going to post it on vervecentral.com. And I truly believe this is going to be the best training that anyone will ever have for VEMA. I mean, you were just on fire. So the one thing I wanted to role play on, because this is something that we were talking about this afternoon with me and Clif, and you know, we talked about, you know, motivation and attitude and all that is great. But it's just like, explain that what you're telling me, Clif, about the doctor and motivation and then skills. Let's go over that first.
Well, yeah, it's funny. It's like if you're looking for a doctor, you're not looking for the most motivated, the most positive. You know, you're looking for someone who's got talent and skill. And so obviously we want to have a good attitude, and all the great things that we read and hear apply. But at some point, what you say and do is going to come into play. And I think the biggest mistake people make when they're out there talking to people is they go into sales mode, and your ambition gets the best of you, and you end up looking creepy or weird or desperate by just having VEMA vomit. And so it's funny, I just kind of like came up with this. I don't even know how I came up with it, but every conversation's the same. I mean, every single conversation, no matter what country I'm in, no matter how old somebody is, no matter if it's warm market, no matter if it's cold market. I mean, it's like, this is so cool because this is something that you can put in your pocket and you can have it and you can use it on anybody, anytime, anywhere. And, you know, people all the time ask me, you know, what do you do? And so I guess, Matt, we're going to kind of role play with that, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you should have seen people taking notes on this, and because it really is a talk track that anyone can use. And we'll run through the script, and then I want to break it down a little bit and talk in a little bit more detail. But if you get this down, just a good answer to what do you do, and then the follow-up from there, I really believe that it can put everyone into consistent action, and it'll eliminate a lot of the fear associated with cold market prospecting. So I'm out and about. Me and Clif, we're at a social event or wherever we happen to be. We get to talking, and the natural course of any conversation, eventually, when you're having engaged with someone else, they always ask, "What do you do?" So, Clif, what do you do?
You know, I work for an energy drink company.
Which one?
It's called Verve.
Huh, I haven't heard of it.
Yeah, you probably haven't seen it either. We don't sell it in stores.
Well, how do you sell it?
We sell it through social marketing.
What's social marketing?
Well, you know what? Here's my card. What's your number? Let's get together next week, and I'll break it down to you.
Bam. I mean, that was a little bit quick, but I wanted let's just go down and let's go through that script. And so what you said yesterday that I thought was so brilliant is you don't you talk in small bursts. You don't sound salesy. You're just answering their questions, and every single answer leaves them wanting more.
Exactly.
So you said you work for an energy drink company, and then almost always people say, which one?
Every time. And what's so cool about this is you're never going to have that anxiety of, oh my God, I have to explain it. You're never going to have the anxiety of, oh, I don't know what they're going to say next, because you know exactly what they're going to say next. When somebody, and I've just gotten really good at getting people to ask me questions, because then I'm answering instead of pitching. And I think that we're all a little bit more comfortable with that. So you've got to ask people questions you want them to ask you. So if I ask someone what they do, probably he's going to ask me what I do. And I just say, oh, I work for an energy drink company. And it's all about the energy that you put into it. I mean, I just say it so nonchalant, and I stop. You want to keep all your answers under 3 seconds. If your answers go over 3 seconds, now you're pitching or you're selling. So Matt asks me, well, what do you do? And I just say, oh, I work for an energy drink company. And it's all how you say it. It's not so much what you say. I mean, it is what you say, but it's also how you say it. So okay, let's just start from the top. So Matt, you asked me, so what do you do?
What do you do?
I work for an energy drink company.
Which one?
Oh, it's called Verve.
I haven't heard of that one.
You know what I get a lot? People say, oh, is that the champagne? Veuve Clicquot.
Right.
I get that all the time. I'm like, no, they got some orange on the bottle. We got some orange on the can. But no, we're our own company. A lot of times people ask me like, oh, are you affiliated with like Red Bull or any other drink? And I'm like, no, we're our own drink. The key is just all your answers are short and non-salesy. And of course, we're totally selling, but we're like a wolf in sheep's clothing. We never look like we're selling. You just answer the question, be really brief. The more you talk, the weaker you sound. And so it's just like, I truly believe the person that ends the conversation first is perceived to be the person who's more important, who's more influential.
And I wanted to cut back to the end, because when we did the first role play, and then we got to the point where I said, you said you do it through social marketing, and then I said, what's social marketing? And then you said, well, here, let me give you my card, and let's get together later. That seemed just a tad abrupt. I mean, I think that ending, I want to explore that a little further. So you say, okay, we do it through social marketing, and I think the posture that you adopt at that point in time is, this may not be the place. I don't really feel like talking business. I don't know if you could say that, but it's like, well, you know what? Here's my card. Maybe we can talk about that some other time. Like, how do you end the conversation? Do you change the subject? Because you say, well, let's get together. That almost might be a little forward. I want to role play through that, because I know
Sure.
you said yesterday, which was some pretty amazing statistics. You went to Cape Town. Didn't know a soul. Okay, so you don't have any relatives, you don't have any friends, you don't have any warm market, and you've enrolled 67 people personally.
Right.
So I know this works, and I've seen you do it. So it's probably not exactly the same thing every time, but walk us through how you leave that conversation when you do cut it off. You decide, hey,
Sure.
now it's time to exchange info.
It's totally case by case. It depends on the person. I mean, as you're talking, you're always reading the other person. And I always say you're reading them like a traffic light. I mean, their face either says red, which is stop, yellow, which is slow down, you're losing me, or green, which is keep going. So as you're talking, you've, of course, got to be reading the person's body language. So if the person wants to know more and they're like, you can't end it abruptly. Like, he says, well, how do you market? And I go, social marketing. And he goes, wow, what's that? And I say, you know what, here's my card. Let's talk about it later. Yeah, you're right. I would say let's talk about it later. Right now is not the time or the place or whatever. Or you can explain it a little bit, but just don't get too deep into it. If somebody says, well, what's social marketing? I'll be like, oh, well, we market it through social media, a lot of Facebook and Twitter. I mean, you could say that. Or you could say, well, we just kind of casually market it. It's kind of like Amazon.com of energy drinks. You drink it and you tell your friends about it. The key is don't talk for too long. And whatever explanation you give, there's a million different explanations you can give. Keep it short and don't look like you're trying to sell the person.
And you mentioned that you pass out a lot of business cards, and so you're ending the conversation or changing the subject, and you give out a business card, and then you said yesterday also you're not the huge, you're not the king of follow-up, so
Right.
you're prospecting more, and then there's a percentage of people who call you, or are you getting their information, sending them a video? I'd like to get a little bit more into detail as to
Okay.
how you do follow-up.
Yeah. Well, just really quickly before we get into that, this is really the magic of the whole thing. It's the impression that you leave on the person. That's what determines whether or not they throw your card in the trash or they actually look up your website or call you back. So, of course, it's 20% what you say, but it's 80% how you say it. And so it's like, you want to take care of your image. You want to brush your teeth. When you're talking to someone, you want to make eye contact 72% of the time. If you make too much eye contact, you make the other person feel weird. If you don't make enough eye contact, then you look like you're not confident in what you're saying. And so all these little tips are so important. And a lot of us know this stuff, and we already do it like naturally, but not everybody does. I had a conversation recently with somebody who would not break eye contact with me, and it was the most uncomfortable conversation because they just kept staring at me, and it was like weird. So all these little things are really important because what really matters is just how they feel. It's the impression that they get of you. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. And you really stressed yesterday the importance, and it just came across, the confidence. So many people in the audience were reasonably new, and they just don't have the confidence. But with anything, it takes practice to build this confidence. And so you have to not be afraid to fail, not be afraid to fall. You just have more conversations, and over time, naturally, you're going to get more confident. Once you get more confident, you're going to get better. I mean, I wish I could just recreate, and again, it'll be posted on vervecentral.com, your entire training. But I just, I'd like you maybe to elaborate a little bit on that, is that, what you think about people, giving up too soon, quitting before they've learned how to develop the confidence, how those conversations go. Just maybe you can kind of pull on some of those nuggets that you gave us yesterday.
Yeah, I mean, like one of the key points from yesterday was, the whole fake it till you make it. That doesn't mean go around and tell people you're making more money than you are. That doesn't mean go get a car you can't afford and a watch. It's fake it till you make it means act confident. And the cool thing is you don't have to act confident all the time. When I'm talking to someone, the conversation may be less than a minute. All you got to do is pretend like you're confident for a minute. When I first got started, I was totally scared. I mean, every time I talked to somebody, I had anxiety, sweaty hands, my knees were shaking, I wanted to puke, but I just faked like I was confident. Act as if really just means act as if you don't need anybody and what you're doing is totally working without crossing over and looking cocky or arrogant. And I think that's really the key ingredient. I mean, it's like when I meet somebody, I'm looking to see if this person is sharp as a tack, enthusiastic, and if they have clarity, and if they're confident. And if they do, then we follow people like that. So it is what you say, but it's so much more about how you say it. And it's just your posture. It's like just pull your shoulders back, stand up straight, make eye contact, and just hold that confidence for 60 seconds just for that short conversation. And you'll be amazed at how, like, you're saying the same stuff, but you're just saying it a little bit differently, and people respond. It's a huge difference in how people respond.
Yeah, I liked what you did when you said, you just stood up a little bit straiter, held your head up a little bit higher, and the difference that made in your, in the
Huge.
air of confidence around you. And I mean, I was just in awe. It was really, really, I sat up a little straighter right in my chair. I'm like, I got to do that. And it does make a difference. So like, what kind of confidence are you carrying around with you? And confidence is the key to success and everything. One thing I wanted to do, we didn't discuss this pre-call, but I know you got this. The other conversation, because a lot of people are just like, you mentioned, friends and family, they either didn't have any luck with it, they don't have the right relationships. They're really looking for, how can I go out and create prospects? And you said that you've built the majority of your business from people that you met in restaurants. So you make a point of not eating at home. You go out to restaurants where there is an actual server that you can interact with. Let's run through the you're so awesome. I mean, that what you what you say to a and I think when you said pay compliments, it's important to sincere compliments. So when you do get excellent service and you have someone who you think would be a good candidate for the business, pretend I'm your waiter. Run through that role play that you did yesterday.
Well, it's like, and I've had so much practice doing this. I mean, my brother and I were always cold market recruiting because when we got into network marketing, we were so young, we didn't have any credibility. Our friends all said it was a scam, and we were just forced to go cold market or quit. And so, like, the first place we started was just with waitresses, and we would just go to the cheapest restaurant possible that had a waitress or a waiter, so we would get that that interaction. And so, okay, so let's say Matt, and I did this just recently. I was out with, who was it? It was Margaret and her team, Jermaine, Leonora, and they saw me do it, and they were like, wow, that's so cool. and it's just because I've been doing it for years and years and years. But it's the easiest thing in the world. So let's say Matt is my waiter, and he just did a killer job, like many waiters do. And Matt comes over, and I'm paying the bill, and I'd be like, "Hey, Matt, is that your name?"
Yep.
Matt, dude, you are so freaking awesome. I just want to tell you, I'm sure everything is great here, and I'm sure you love your job. But if they ever mistreat you, or you just get tired of working here, I'd love to have somebody like you on my team. Here's my card.
Boom.
And that's it. It's so freaking simple. And then he may or may not, he, that person, may or may not ask you on the spot, what do you do? They might be busy. They might have other tables. You've always got to be sensitive to, like, what's going on. Maybe their manager's standing right behind them and they can't say anything, and you're going to actually get the person in trouble. So you've got to kind of look out for that person. Make sure you say stuff at the right time when it's appropriate. And I just gauge it. If the restaurant's super busy, it'll be a real quick recruit. If the restaurant's dead, we might strike up a little conversation, and it might roll right into what we just discussed previously, where he says, "What do you do?" And I said, "I work for an energy drink." And yeah, man, I mean, we're always looking for outgoing, positive people such as yourself. So, just give me a call. Like, I know you're busy here at work, but like I said, I'd love to have you on my team.
Yeah, I love it. The key is, and I've been with you, when I've seen you prospect and people who hang out with me, same thing. And what I want everyone to get is that these are, in my opinion, and correct me if you have any difference of opinion, Clif, but these are low percentage shots. I mean, we don't take the rejection personally at all. As a matter of fact, don't even get rejection, because you're just starting conversations and you're handing out cards and you're just making contacts. And if you do it, multiple times per day, if you just make a habit of engaging the people that are around you, you're going to get, someone like the contact at that one restaurant that led to Graydon's dad, which led to Graydon, which led to, the majority of your team in South Africa. And with me, been in Vegas here for a couple of years, talked with a lot of people, but I've met a couple of really good ones, like, Ross George, who I met in a casual, encounter at a poker game. You turn strangers into friends, basically, is the magic. And keep in mind, our business model is just so incredibly simple. You need to build two teams. You need to find two people that are as committed as you are. Cliff, you said yesterday, maybe you need to sponsor 20 to find those two. But the reality is that you get two good people and you duplicate that. The reward is astronomical. And in the interim, you're still doing your thing. You're just using the products. You're getting healthier. You're doing personal development, becoming a better person. The downside is non-existent, and the upside is massive. So I think the key is to get into action consistently. And if you use these scripts and you come up with that intelligent way of handling the "what do you do" question without vomiting on people, and you start to develop and increase your confidence, put the shoulders back, the head up higher, practice being confident and not needy or desperate or salesy, and you take enough shots on goal, you're going to recruit people. So that's what I wanted to cover today. I know sometimes, Cliff, when we're doing these calls, my dogs start barking.
Yeah, Joey agrees with you.
Yeah. Is there anything else that you would like to share at the moment before we wrap up?
No, I mean, I think you hit the nail on the head. That it's like you just have to know that I might talk to 10 or 20 people and maybe get one person. So when I talk to somebody, I'm not like putting all my eggs in one basket thinking, man, this is the person. I think the biggest mistake new people make is they say a lot to a few people. And you want to do the exact opposite. You want to say a little bit to a lot of people. That's how you're going to get good at it. 90% of recruiting is timing, so you really can't say the right thing to the wrong person. I mean, you just go out there and you just talk to people, and eventually you're going to find the right person. So there's nothing magic to it. It's just talking to a lot of people.
Well said. All right, cool. Well, again, yesterday was exciting. Everybody that was here was just absolutely impressed with all the content, and wanted to share a little bit of that with you guys on the call. Right now we're going into the Super Bowl. You got convention right around the corner at the Mirage. You got to be there with as many people as you humanly possibly can. Don't give up, because it's not going to sell out. It's never sold out. There's always a room for that one extra person. If you do buy tickets on Facebook, make sure they get transferred before you send the money. That's really the only thing we're focusing on for the next couple weeks is filling up convention. As I mentioned before, we're having a book signing party on Friday night at the Verve Central office. I'm going to have flyers at convention for that, so we'll give you the address and so forth. That's going to be Friday night. while the YPR night is going on. You know, for those of you that are YPR, you can come over to the Verve Central either before or after the YPR party, but Clif and I will be there with books. Clif will be signing books, and we'll have a nice party, maybe a poker game. If you haven't seen Verve Central, it's a real cool, laid-back environment. And then Sunday, after the whole convention's over, we're going to have a party at my house in the afternoon. I've got a barbecue truck coming by. Looking forward to being able to spend some time with everybody Sunday night after convention, or Sunday afternoon, after convention. So I'll get an exact start time on that. I don't think there's any formal activities planned on Sunday because they're doing those leadership events on Thursday, so we may start it a little earlier. It might be like a pool party in the afternoon. So I'll probably have the details on that firmed up by next weekend. So everybody, hope you have a fantastic week. If you want to share this content, it will be up on vervecentral.com under the videos section with all the other blogs. I did a video blog here today, or actually yesterday, I think it's going up today, on closing. You might want to check that out. If you haven't been spending time on vervecentral.com, you got to go there and register your email address for the updates and take a look over it. Ross and EJ have done an amazing job on that site. So with that, I'm going to wish you guys a phenomenal week. Look forward to seeing y'all at convention. And Clif, thanks again for your help today, and I will talk to everybody real soon. Bye for now.
Great. See you guys.